with Brexit, it looks like Britain is trying to square the circle. They want to participate in the European Common Union as far as goods and services flowing freely, but they don't want labor to come into Britain from other EU countries.
Huh?
Well, what does squaring the circle in this case mean? It means, hey, that's an impossible thing. Either you have both or you have neither. This is an impossibility. Squaring the circle generally means something that's undoable, impossible, something like that. Now we have square, we have circle. What that means is this is something mathematical. And as far as mathematics is concerned, what does it really mean? It means that can you take a circle which has a certain area and create a square with the same area? So it's really talking about the area of both the square and the circle. Well, can you put on the first slide? Well, here I have an example. You see a circle. It's supposed to look like a circle, although it's coming out as an oval. It has a radius of 1, which means it has an area of pi. Now here we have a square with a side of square root of pi, which means it also has an area of pi. So here we have a circle with an area of pi and a square with an area of pi. So what gives? Have we solved this problem that mathematicians have been struggling with for thousands of years without solving it? Well, not quite. We have to go back a little bit of history. Actually, 2,000 years back in history, where the Greeks, who were very much into mathematics, tried to solve this problem. You know, can you create a square with the same area as a circle? And they struggled with it and really could not solve it. The reason why they couldn't is because of their concept of what a number is. For them, either a number was an integer, 0, 1, 2, or it was a ratio of integers, what we call rational numbers. Rational numbers means ratios of two integers. Now we reformulate or refix the problem as saying, can the area as a rational number equal the area of a square as a rational number? Well, it all boils down to the fact whether pi is rational or not irrational.
It's not.
That was the question. The Greeks struggled with it, and they had brilliant mathematicians. Plato, Euclid, and the greatest of them all, Archimedes. They struggled with it and could not solve this problem. Well, it was finally solved by one Johann Lambert in 1776. It was an earth-shaking event. Nothing else happened in that year. And unfortunately, even though this was 100 years after calculus had come, the proof was extremely complex, and I tried to follow it, and I couldn't. Well, eventually, in the 20th century, there was a proof offered by one Ivan Niven, which, at least to me, seemed to be something that I could follow. And if you could go to the next one. Well, basically, the outline of his proof is something like this. I don't want you to get all flustered by this. What I want to communicate is really, how does one go about proving something like pi is not rational? Well, he looked at this formula, which is what is called a definite integral, of a fairly simple function, something that even I could understand, and using the normal methods of solving it, using what is called the chain rule, he showed that it has to be a positive integer, either 0, 1, 2, or 3. Using another method, by what is called the binomial expansion of this term, he was able to show that it has to fall between 0 and 1, but not 0 and 1. What that means is that this one contradicts that one. And in mathematics proof, if you find a contradiction, what that means is your assumption is wrong. So pi cannot be a over b, where a and b are integers. And it's irrational. Now, there are thousands of proofs, attempted proofs, I should say. Most of them are wrong for one reason or another, but there are still hundreds of legitimate proofs that are wrong. You know, this is a problem that interested a lot of people. And you know, mathematicians like a challenge, and this was one of the challenges. Now, I want to close by giving one incident of how somebody tried to solve this problem. And it is called the Indiana Pi Bill of 1897. The bill is titled "A Method to Square the Circle," and it was an attempt to establish mathematical truth by legislative fiat.
Hey, if it works.
And they actually introduced this bill, and some amateur mathematician had convinced them to do it. And the result was they were going to establish the fact that they could square the circle, even though 100 years prior to that, Mr. Lambert had already proved that it could not be done. Fortunately, there was a mathematician in the gallery.
Hey.
He had come to advise the school board on some matters and decided that he was going to be in the floor just to listen to what's going on in the legislature. And when he heard this bill, he went out and talked to the legislators and told them, this is a very bad idea. This is not the way you approach mathematics. And surprisingly, that bill lost, but by only one vote.
Oof. Oof.
If they had passed this, they would have legislated the value of pi to be 3.2.
Oh my God.
Fortunately, it did pass. And now, I close with saying, we have an equivalent bunch of legislators now. Are you feeling comfortable with their finger on the nuclear button? Thank you.